I am very excited to have a very special guest on my podcast. Her name is Rupa Kneull. I know it's German, so am I pronouncing it?
Don't worry, it's Kneull.
Well, I was Frau Kneull,
Yeah.
so we both share a lot. And Rupa, I'm very excited to have you because there's many reasons. One is that we actually met through this summit, Rob Moore, and it's because you and I are both very much in the philosophy of constantly improving and empowering our knowledge and ourselves.
Absolutely.
And the reason why we do that is because I think we both ended up in the same situation that we did not know, and that we were single moms. Then the more I spoke with you, I was even more impressed with the fact that you're an author of several books. You're working on another one. You are also a foreigner living in Munich. You married a German, which we both share a lot of that in common, and that you are out to help women. You are a warrior. We are all over the world. We are here to help others while we're still improving and healing and empowering ourselves. You're doing what you practice, what you preach. So do I. And I love that about you, of how you are so into humanity and giving and helping others, because you know very well the secret is it helps us at the same time. It empowers us and it makes us so happy and fulfilling to know that we have helped someone else, because that's what we were born to do. We didn't have a calling. We are the calling.
We are the calling.
So, Rup, I want you to introduce yourself and tell us all about how you cope, what you do, and how you got there.
Thank you so much, by the way, for the introduction. That was amazing. Oh, well, my name is Rupa Kneull, and I am a co-founder, several company, Brain Invincible, and we work for cognitive improvement and everything. I am a single mom, a proud single mom. I love that.
Like that.
I just started another brand new podcast series called Girl, I Got Your Back. And Tina and I, we both met in a platform and we instantly connected, and we have so much in common. And like we said, you know what? We have to put our message out there. We have to help people. So that's why we are here. I hope from the podcast, because you get the best out of it and you get some valuable message which you can imply in your life. And Tina,
how you approach empowering others. You mentioned cognitive development, which is what I do through the fashion designing and arts. And I use music, I use color. Words are very important because they're vibrational. Since your nationality is it 100% Indian?
I'm from Bangladesh, not India. I am an artist and a singer. And so I like singing. I would encourage people to sing because singing has so much powerful vibrational energy. Everything is energy, right? Every single thing that we do is energy. Either it's a bad one or the good one. And you can choose. We have the power. We have the everything in our hand. So much, we have so much energy. Like we can choose. We have the choice. This God or the universe does not choose. We choose. And this is the great thing about the universe. I love universe, like whatever it is, did not give us the you got to do that or you got to do that. No, it's like a freedom. There's so much love poured on us. Like it's a freedom. You can choose what kind of life you want to have. You can choose what kind of energy you want to have, or what kind of vibrational energy you want to have, like what vortex you want to be in, right? So we can choose our vortex. We can that, okay, if I stay into this judgmental vortex, that's it. If you stay in that kind of zone, you can't manifest. You cannot go there and tell yourself, well, I am a positive person. But no, but you're judging. That judgment is already a negative state, right? Judgment is the negativity. When you judge, you not only harming sake of judging, it's all you're harming yourself, because your heart starts beating very fast, your blood goes high, you get high blood pressure, whatever. It happens so many bad stuff. I believe that judgment can very harmful for everybody. Let's say there's a glass. I don't have to, like, some people will see it's half empty, some people will see half full. And so it's your choice, the way you are seeing it. Life is all about perspective, the way we take things. Someone will see it this way, somebody will see it that way.
Would you call it like a mindset? And then when I realized, and I like changing your mindset, because when you say a cup is half full or half empty, you're looking at it as a positive, that it's almost full. You're you're looking at a glass of water, which is half empty, means you're in the negative flow. So no matter how bad the situation could be out there for someone that's listening to this, it can't get any worse. The minute you decide that things are going to change, you're going to say, look, I have control of what happens now. And I'm going to set out a goal and an intention that this is where I want to do, this is where I want to be, and I'm not going to stay here because
this is where I want to go. Yeah.
Right. This is where I want to go. And you have to just get a vision, what makes you happy. The key is you can't do anything that's not going to make you happy. It has to.
Yeah, you have to feel excited that like, yeah, I want to do it no matter what.
Exactly. And the moment you find what makes you happy, that's the moment you realize inside. That's what it triggers in your brain. There's certain parts of the brain that get activated, like certain parts of the cortex, the frontal lobe, and immediately sends such great healing to your body. And suddenly you become so motivated, you start working toward it, even if it's step by step. It has to be small. Don't expect to get something without hard work, but you are much more motivated to say, I am a powerful being. Many are trying to suppress. There's energies out there that can't yet control you. Once you know your own inner power and you raise up that invisible sword that you were born with and you connect with your heart chakra, you're so powerful. It's like dynamite. It's so powerful. And I love how you said that. Everything around you is going to energize you. I talk about how nature and words and singing and music and dance.
Oh, yeah. Color.
The color of music, powerful. And when I teach, I put in color. Oh, my whole room is color coordinated with certain trend boards. Then I have music. I have them get up and dance. I have lots of students that are multi-potentialite. They say
sound is so powerful. You know that when you hear some kind of sound, even some word that triggers you instantly, right? Then you remember whatever happened in the past. Sound is so powerful. Sound therapy. Sound is so good for your brain. I mean, music, not just any kind of sound, music, harmonious sound. This is so amazing. It's so important also because we sometimes we stay in that zone. Some people say, oh, I'm sad now, I don't want to listen to any music. But you know what, when you listen to one song, it can change your state of being. It can change your energy level. It can bring you up, right up. You don't have to listen to a sad song. You do not have to do that.
Yes, and that's why I'm concerned about the music they're putting out there, because that music, it can be harmful.
Goes directly to your subconscious mind, because every song is written with a lot of emotion attached to it, you see. And emotion is such a particular, it's a substance that we use. Whatever emotion you're using, you're actually attracting that to your life. That is coming towards you like a magnet. So if you're putting emotion plus when you're listening to that and the people said, then you're manifesting that even more.
You don't realize that when you're feeling like this, you're also manifesting how you feel outward.
How you feel, absolutely. This is crazy. But some does it with knowingly, some does it without knowing. Like, okay, I didn't even know that if I hear this song that I will manifest. Yeah, you better do now.
I don't think a lot of people don't know that. They really don't.
I think so. I think we have to put it out there even more, this message that be careful what kind of song you listen to, because it goes directly to your subconscious mind.
And that then affects the rest of your body, your mind, your
life. Believe me, rest of your life.
Pretty much say, that's it. Just be careful. So do you have any nice music recommendation? I mean, I know that I'm affected by people's energy. I'm affected by their words, and I'm also affected by music.
Oh, wow. Absolutely right. Music is delicious. I love it. I have go-to music whenever I feel very low energy. Everybody does, because we're human beings. We are made by the same flesh and blood and everything. So yeah, we do feel like that also sometimes. But I have go-to music, like I always sing, this feeling good song. You know how I feel. That song, like this feeling good. I sing that a couple of times, and I like
keep going, Rupa. I want to hear your voice, my professional singers.
I don't know if I remember the lyrics, but I'll try.
Okay.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. I have to look up. I don't know. Feeling good. And I didn't prepare right now that I will see.
I know I got you on the spot, but I like doing that because it's so much more just authentic. You know what I mean? So you're surprising me because I had no idea that you were actually not just a superhero. I knew you were creative, but I wasn't sure about your accolades. But now I know
Oh,
you
thank you so,
are the musician, the music, the singer,
thank you so much.
an
Thank you so much.
artist, and an artist. What's your favorite colors that help you when
Oh,
you're
my favorite. I have a couple of them. I like my favorite used to be two or 1 year ago. Yellow, loved it, and now I am more like a spiritual realm. So I love purple right now. Purple, blue, like dark navy blue. Like these are like my. These are very spiritual colors, so I love those colors. Very.
I've gotten a woman who's an artist now calling me, and I'm trying to bring her on as an artist teacher to my online fashion design account. As I used to represent, I had a gallery. So
Mhm.
colors, and I mean, as a designer and an artist, color, of course, is really, really important to me. And green has always been my color. As you can see,
Ah, yes, green. I forgot about green. Oh my God, green. I love green. Green
I'm
is
a
just amazing color.
definitely chartreuse is one of my favorites. And when back in the 80s, I had chartreuse pants, chartreuse sweaters, and now, and they didn't want to put that color into the concepts of the collection because they thought it was too forward for the mass America. And I'm going, why? We actually back then was controlling the colors that people could buy. And I,
Mhm.
and I think that's, they thought that people wouldn't buy it. And the chartreuse later in the 90s became like the biggest color. And
Oh
everybody,
wow.
so that's one thing I wanted to do is like how important color is and how it affects you when you wear it. It's not
Oh
just,
yeah.
I mean, what you put on
It
your,
is amazing. Green. How can I forget about green? Green is my favorite, of course. You know what? I when I was younger, still I do sometimes. I would just chop off this and that, and I would just make my own. Invent my own clothing. I'll send you some pictures. You can also post it if you like.
oh, I love
Um, with some cloth and just cut it off and make my own design. Always I did that, and everybody would come, do you come here for modeling or
well, you are very
so
beautiful,
I studied law for 3 years. 3 years, and then I was like, okay, this is not my thing. I didn't do that. Then I studied art because law is good, but I had so much neck pain because you have to study so much, and I hated to study like that. Like it's not my cup of tea. So I think it's important to you can, and nowadays everything is so like on top of your hand. You can just do everything you want, right? You can find your passion and make money with through this. You can do anything you want, so it became so easy. You don't have to struggle like us we did before,
no,
right?
oh, it's much easier now. They're doing things that create much easier for artists and creative people. So, how do you apply all of this knowledge and background as a singer, as an artist, as a creative individual, and a very empathic one? I presume you are what I call indigo generation of star seeds. How do you apply this now to helping single moms?
I think everybody has a voice. If you don't put your voice out there, it's a selfish act, and you just have to believe in yourself, because if you can speak, you can do that, because everybody has a story, everybody has something special to share to the world. And if you don't do that, this is selfish, because everybody can learn from somebody like us. Then we will feel like, girl, I got your back. I'm with you, you're not alone. Just imagine when you came here to US from Germany. I know were alone, you had a lot of pain and evolve yourself, everything you had to do all by yourself.
Yeah,
So
well,
imagine if you had
yeah,
somebody like me, somebody like you, how that would be for you. Talk about it. Let me hear, because I know that when you came from a very painful single moms out there who could learn something from that biggest and super painful time of your life. It is possible to come out of that. Talk about that a little bit.
I left Germany after living there for 20 years. I'm coming back to my home state, which I hadn't been in for 30. So, you lose touch with people that you haven't been around. you now develop a whole new family and friends in another country, like in Munich, where you live right now. And you're not from Germany. That's not your native language. It wasn't mine. It is hard to go through a situation you never asked for. It was out of your control. Although you're put in a place where it's out of your control, it doesn't mean that you can't regain the control of how you act, how you speak, and how you're going to heal from that moment on. That's on you. And you have to make a decision, no matter how bad it is out there, that is worse than you, is that you can take a really bad situation, the worst of the worst, and you can still turn it around and become even better than you were before the whole thing started. Much more powerful, actually giving to society, soul searching, because I mean, I was devastated. And I think most people are so in shock and traumatized or devastated. They're suffering from post-traumatic stress. You feel so helpless. You're like in a fight or flight mode and you're desperate. I was a person who never asked anyone for help before. I was the one of the go-to, like everybody I've ever known since I was young used to come to me for advice. So suddenly I realized, I'm like, oh my God, I should have asked for help. And by the time I did, it was already too late. I had to help myself. Once I started doing research about overcoming trauma and healing, and not the traditional way, the organic way, I prayed, I begged, I asked for clarity from my creator. I said, look, I need help. If I listen quietly to myself, I hear it. It comes through. It's like a little voice. And it said, start teaching. I said, start teaching. Teaching what? I'm not a teacher. And suddenly I got back to Rhode Island, and someone said, why don't you I had finished a big collection in Dresden, Germany, in front of 10,000 people. Wow. I was invited to a designer's apartment in Berlin. I had 1 week to come up with a collection that was going to be worn belly dancing school. I was sitting there. I didn't sleep for days, created patterns, created clothes. I had fabric from the local fabric store. She had some, and I sat there and sewed and designed an entire week, actually accomplished an entire collection in a week. I said to myself, if it doesn't get done, I tried, but I actually did it. And that collection, I had a video, and it was so successful. Some of the dancers even bought some of my pieces. I met another talk show host. She's beautiful. She's from Munich. She was my co-host. I showed a video at a fabric store, and I found out that nowhere can children learn fashion designing. So I played the video, and suddenly my table was surrounded by mothers. My daughter wants to learn so. My son wants to learn so. And I'm like, really? And I thought to myself, but I was so blown away, because I'm thinking, how the heck am I going to teach them the real world, like what you need to learn or do in a real world? Because I worked in the industry for 20 years. So I sat there and I started, somehow the universe also brought other people to me, teachers.
But did you study art? Did you study fashion design?
Yeah. I graduated from one of the Harvard of Fashion Arts, Rhode Island School of Design. It's $72,000 a year, not including housing and not including material. It's gotten so expensive, but even back then it was very expensive and it was difficult to get in. So my ability to draw is really good. And it was my passion to pursue a career as a designer, because I was 5 years old and up, and I found out that I have two famous great grandfather tailors on both sides of my family. So it's a double whammy. I mean, I sometimes do things I don't even know where I know I didn't learn them, but I don't know how I have this knowledge. That's why I'm also able to teach so quickly. I wanted to infuse Montessori, because my kids were in the Montessori in Munich, learned your English to get into MIS, the Munich International School, which your daughter is in the same extension.
BIS, yeah.
At BIS, how funny is that? I even looked into that school. And so
Bavarian International School.
I learned Montessori. I learned Dr. Jim Fay, Love and Logic Magic. Gave up my career. Sons back to back. There was no way I could still run my own company.
You don't have to give up your career. That's so wrong.
I couldn't, because I had to travel a lot. I had to travel to trade shows. I could not run my business still with two children born Irish twins back to back. I sold my contact list, and that was it. Did was get into education. And for some reason, I became the first grade rep. I became the MIS ambassador. I was very involved. So by the time I was being told to teach, I said, okay. Oh, and the Waldorfschule, the Waldorf, which is the nature school, I wanted to combine all the knowledge I've learned because I think Montessori is the best because it gives you a freedom of choice and they learn at their own pace. I said, okay, I want this, I want this, I want music, I want how important food is and health and words and an environment and your surroundings. So I combined all of that. Did I combine it in my book, Fashion Design Empowers the Mind? It's about educating, healing, and empowering the youth through the arts because singing, dancing, music. I had music in the background. I get them up dancing, which I'm going to edit a few of my videos and post it on.
That is so cool. I love that. Dancing is super powerful, super powerful.
And the kids actually, they got so much more into designing and sewing when they heard their music and they were singing. And what kind of school in my academy did I just create? All the arts into one. Then they had to interview each other. Then they had to put the fashion show together. And they picked their own music that they would walk with wearing their own design because that's empowering them because they had a freedom of choice and they selected the music that empowered them. So if it can work with the kids, they learn a real world to the bare minimum of what they have to learn to be a real designer that they could walk into a design showroom in New York or any company and be able to sit down and do a spec sheet and a technical sketch, just like what they're hired to do all day long. Really gave them a real world education, and they get it to do technical sketches, draft, and make their own patterns. I created my own way of teaching how to make a pattern, them step by step. So they learn by doing, which is also a Montessori, and they build upon what they learn by every design they choose to make, and it's of their choice. And then I just stripped the whole concept of how to create and understand the body.
I think, yeah, of course. All the time, everything.
And the body, the anatomy, the bones, the muscle, the fact of how we move. So when, this gets tighter, so you're not going to do something tight of a sleeve.
Down, when you're sitting down, when you stand up, your tummy is much more flatter when you're sitting in the
Right. So all those things are just so common sense. But then I broke down even how to sew in 6 easy steps. I took the shape of what normal patterns look like, the shapes that you would always come across, and I turned them into samples of exercisers for sewing. Then I broke it down even further of how to sew each shape perfectly, like a pro. And in 2 hours, my students
and they can do that. They could do that.
That's what I'm saying, Rupa. You don't understand. Like, it blows people's minds when they hear that a child of 5 years old who can't even reach the pedal can not only sew like a professional in 2 hours, but she can draft and make her own patterns. I've proven fashion design empowers the mind. And also I want to be a designer. I want to be a fashion designer. I have been doing this and I tweaked it in the beginning.
You are a fashion designer. Yeah.
Prove that they could do it. And also I had students that were challenged, mentally challenged, like ADHD and ADD, ended up healing myself.
Oh, wow. Process. That's the beauty of contribution, when you
contributing by helping.
Then it comes back to you. Actually, you are blessing yourself. You are making yourself richer and richer. Yeah. So
that's how I did it.
That is so amazing. Wow.
I was not aware of it.
Exactly.
When it was happening, my mind was off saying, I am trying to give more respect to children. So my intention was, in a way, my intention was to give more safety. My thing was about protecting the children, giving them more of respect, dignity, safety,
security.
And that was really my intention, to prove that they deserve it because of how smart they are. And here I'm going to prove to you that they should be held in a courtroom and listened to, because if they're capable of doing this, their brain is very highly functioning, for them to accomplish what they're doing, and they know how to speak about it. They interview each other. They learn to be in front of a camera.
Yeah, of course.
Like, they literally go home and go, Mom.
And they feel more safe when they see this respectful environment.
I treat them like my own children. They actually sometimes call me Mom, and they're like, oh my God, I just called you Mom.
Hello. So where we left?
I was in the process of healing myself through a guided voice after I was requesting from the universe to come and help me because I didn't have anybody else to help. And the voices was to teach. And I kept questioning, teaching what? Then I realized that it was a demand. You know, kids all of a sudden wanted to be fashion designers of all ages, and even adults that approached me of wanting to always have pursued a career, but their parents were very, supportive, and they didn't want them to be starving artists. That whole thing about starving artists is ridiculous because most of the people that make the most money now are those designers and graphic designers and film and video. I mean, the arts, creative products. I mean, everything we sit on, eat with, dress, our homes, our houses, everything that we live with and use every day is created by an artist. It's like, why would it not be important? This is part of the basic necessities of life: food, shelter, and clothing from society. We would end up looking in gray, black, which are not colors, and white, or nothing. No, it would be just dark and gloomy.
Amazing. Wow.
The blue comes from the ocean and the sky, and the green is our nature. Flowers are our colors. By empowering myself, I was actually, my intention was to empower others. I was actually empowering myself at the same time. I had no idea this was happening, but it happened. And now I wrote a book about it, Fashion Design Empowers the Mind. It's about everything. Found Dr. Emoto, which is a Japanese scientist that proved that singing, praying words to water, and we are all made of water.
Oh yeah, we are.
Our planet is basically.
That's how I healed my corona, by the way. With the water and drinking it off. It works like crazy.
What do you do with water?
Affirmation and tell this water is a miracle water, it will heal me. And then when you drink the water, you literally feel different. It works like crazy. Just try it out yourself 7 days and you'll see what happens.
Oh my God, I'm going to do that. I never thought to do that to myself. Oh my God, see that even no matter how much research you do and how much you think you know, there is always more to learn.
Absolutely.
Oh,
tell me one thing, because I know for a lot of, in this recession time and whatever we are going through right now is happening, and for a lot of women, especially single moms, or I want, because our mission is to help people, right, women, and empower them. So tell me, who do you have to become in order to create wealth, do you think? Like, because you have been to Grant Cardone and did all this because you have more knowledge than I do, I think, on this topic. So tell me, what do you think about the mindset about money, and who do you have to become in order to create wealth?
For some reason, most of us have this mindset. I think majority of the human beings think that money's bad. That was number one. And in a way, I also thought something like that, because when I was a very wealthy woman, I was a multi-billionaire. I didn't really spend money, because as an American, my mother taught me to do the coupons. It didn't make me happier. I also had a negative thing on money because of what happened in my divorce. And I think that we need money for financial freedom. Okay, so if you change your mindset to the fact that money actually is not bad, money will give you the power to help others.
Like we want to help, we can start immediately helping, giving.
Right. The more money we have, the more ability that we can pursue whatever direction or goal we're intended to go toward to help others. So like for school, or for class, or for more knowledge, or for coaching, or for education, for mentoring.
So many things, like money in virtue, in everything. So
change your mindset to the fact that the money will bring in abundance for you to also flow out the abundance. Yes, money is actually really good. It doesn't matter. Just get whatever is going to give you the ability to acquire what you need for you to support and help and empower others. Money is great. You got to think money is what I need, and money is not bad. It's good. And that we are here because with that money, I can do what I want to do. Second was, how to handle the money. You need to collaborate by doing podcasts like what we're doing. We're actually practicing what he's preaching. And so did John Lee and others. Write a book, because the book itself gives you the authority, because you wouldn't write a book unless you had something to share. And a lot of people think they have nothing to share. Like you said earlier, take a voice. You may not think people want to hear what you have to say, but you will be surprised
how much you have to say.
People out there are needing to just read it, just to know they're not alone.
Makes no sense to have this life with decades of experience and not to share, which people can get from you, and they don't have to make the same mistake, and they can, sense.
And don't ever think that what you have to say, someone's going to say bad things about it, or
Absolutely.
not. So, and people that are not there to support you, slowly separate yourself.
Every of them.
Yeah, if it's your mother, your brother, your father, your grandfather, your godfather, your best friend since first grade, I don't care who they are. Separate yourself immediately. Like, be nice. Look, right now I'm in and I don't care. All the advice they're giving you is bad advice, especially if it's not supporting where you want to go. And I had to do that. It was very difficult because I was relying on them to help me. But in the end, they just pushed me aside because they knew they couldn't help me. They didn't understand the situation. They were uneducated, and I don't blame them. Most people were not. They're naive. They think the world is beautiful, and the world is not beautiful. And there are mean people out there. And the thing is, you know, and how to identify the ones that are making you feel better, rising you up, supporting you, complimenting you, and telling you how great you are and that you can do it. If they don't go girl,
go girl,
your back, then they're not your friend.
No. They will just sabotage you, and in many ways, and they will just, it's just very harmful for your mental health.
Yes.
You know, these kind of toxic people, they can just push you on the ground, and oh no, you don't want to do that. It just really burn you out. No,
they're very negative, and they say, oh, that's not going to work, and you can't do that. I mean, you know how many years I've had to listen to this, and eventually you got to change your mindset and go, you know, I did this, I did that, I was accomplished, I went to college, I got a degree, I ran my own company, I'm very well liked and admired and respected by people in my industry. I have a lot of friends worldwide, internationally, and they all like me. And then these people who are supposed to be your family doesn't have a clue about any of that, and then offers the worst possible advice. They're always saying you can't do that. That's not. And then they go and tell you to do something that is a low-paying job just because they believe you got to have a job. That's another thing. Everybody's like, well, you got to get a job. You got to get a job. Well, starting my own business is a job.
It is a job. And then when you get wealthy and better, with your wealth and everything, they start becoming very jealous. But you don't want to stay with the jealous people, not at all.
They're so taught to be an employee, to have a job, but not to run or start your own business. They have no idea about entrepreneurship.
No.
Yeah. I don't care who it is out there. Look at what they've done in their life and see who did the most. So who should be giving you the advice? You have to make the decision inside to remember how intelligent and what you've done in the past and why you are so amazing. And remember, you are powerful and you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. You just didn't know how amazing you are and what you can do, but you're not going to find out until you try. And don't worry about failure. There's no such thing as failure. It is the procedure you need to go through in order to get to where you need to get. It's a learning process. You sew something. If it comes out wrong, you take a seam ripper and you take it apart.
Anyway.
And that's it.
Yeah. But tell me, when they get depressed or something, what would you tell them?
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I just lost you. Oh my God. I must have been so powerful. That has never started on me before.
So tell me about if someone get depressed or stay in that kind of depression, how can they come out of that depression? Because I know many people, that you probably read the book from Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. And he also says, he's a psychologist. He also said there in his book that when they somehow survived, didn't do anything stupid, Later on, they were really thankful for their life. Later on, they said to them, reported him, well, thank you so much for saving my life. And I am so glad and so grateful that I didn't do this, for their life later on. So what do you have to say for this thing, for people who are depressed or going through this kind of, let's say, bad divorce or bad situation, women and things like that? What would you say? What would you suggest them to do?
Well, I've actually also, without knowing, saved people's lives and kept them from committing suicide. And they did come back to me years later and told me, because I had no idea. I mean, one of them I knew wanted to commit suicide. She was a single mom, lost her kids, and she was living under a bridge. She called me because I have a lot of groups on Facebook, which was just recently hacked, so you don't want to go there, but I was the admin of many groups for international mothers all over the world. And they basically, one of them called and said, I'm going to commit suicide. And I kept her on the phone all night, stayed up all night with her, and I talked her out of it. But it took a while because she really was determined. And then 2 years later, she called me and said, do you remember me? I'm so glad that you saved my life. I'm glad that I listened to you. Basically, I get to know you, like get to know the person. I need to know I help them remember who they were before. Like, what were they? Most of the time I find out they were creative. They were professional, high-flying professional women. All of them. It's
wow.
And they were all creative beings. They were all creative. I realized that there was a pattern going on around the world, that for some reason, these narcissistic men always aim for the creative women, the professional creative women that are so talented. And it's because they have a light and they have an aura that shines. And for some reason, they just want a piece of it because they don't have it. They lack that light. They're soulless. And our soul is glowing. I mean, like, that's why people are attracted to come toward us, to speak to us, even though they don't know why, or why they want to be in our presence.
Oh, wow. I love that. Wow.
We expand on this light because they can see it in our faces. We smile, we're happy. I noticed there was every single one of, and I'm talking to millions. I realized that they were creative person, either in the film or directors of Hollywood or actresses. I mean, Sharon Stone just happened to Sharon Stone. I've just started reading about it. In 2008 was her case. It's difficult. And I know that a lot of mothers who actually get to see their kids on supervised visitation, they should be lucky, because there's people who don't see their kids at all, ever again. Then they're the ones who start complaining that they have kids and they can't support them. Well, then
wow.
Then I remind them that you're lucky to even have them, because
they really need to work on mindset, I think, right?
Right, because they don't realize how good they have it among every other single mother. So I deal with the mothers that have kids that are complaining, not so many. Most of them have lost their kids. Others, that's why by the time they reach me, it's too late. They don't find out about my particular case.
How can they come out of that zone, that disturbing mind?
They have to literally
depression.
They have to sit there and understand that that's where they are. First of all, they have to identify that they are. They have to identify, and then they have to realize that the only way for them to break through it is for them to really want. They can't do it with meds. It's
a decision. It's a choice.
It's a major choice. It is a choice that you have to get up every morning and get your ass out of bed. There were days where I couldn't even get out of bed. I even self-induced coma. My heart was so broken that I couldn't even, that literally went and self-seduced myself into a coma. And it was only this voice that out of nowhere that reached me in the deepest part of wherever I was. Because I'm a deep sleeper. You can't wake me up at all. It was a voice going, it was like my son's voice screaming, mommy, and it snapped me. It slowly brought me out, and I got
out of the room.
I couldn't even walk. I didn't get dressed. I didn't eat. I didn't brush my teeth. I mean, that's serious depression. I was there. So I know.
But how can they identify that they are depressed? Well, because you said it's important that they have to identify.
You have no motivation to do anything. You'd rather just stay in a women's shelter or something and sleep all day and do nothing but maybe self-medicate, or even just drugs or drink. I mean, a depression.
But your life has no meaning, no purpose, nothing.
You have no goals, no intention, no motivation. You're not interested in music, not interested in dance. You're not interested in going out and socializing. You're not interested in doing anything, nothing. You actually don't even want to live. You don't care if you live or die. And the world is just, everything is bad. I mean, it depends on the forms each one takes. I mean, it's individual. There are people that are depressed for all the wrong reasons, and there's also people that are depressed because they've suffered a childhood trauma that they never knew about and they never broke out. So they're always feeling like empty. They're empty, completely empty. They have no compassion either anymore. They don't feel for anyone. And that's serious. And
It is.
in order for them to break out of it, you got to really identify it yourself. Because I didn't realize I was traumatized. Most people don't. They get traumatized, they don't realize it, and then they can keep getting re-traumatized. It gets worse and deeper and stronger, that it's so difficult to really go back that far, especially when it happens to children. I've worked out with kids with connecting left and right brain. Entering creativity into their lives is a way to break through depression and creativity. I actually have a chapter in my book about depression.
I also have one. Yeah. Her book and my book is very similar somehow.
Yeah,
it's so
that's
crazy.
what I'm saying. We have a lot in common. It says depression can also be caused by trauma. So it usually starts and begins with trauma. I find depression to be one of the hardest to overcome. It takes a very strong person to overcome depression. I'm not familiar with all the medications they prescribe people who are suffering from depression, and I'm not interested in knowing. No, I am not a big fan of medication, because what I've seen live, it actually locks them in, and it causes more damage.
It does. It's just damaging your brain as well, and this is so bad. You don't want to go there. You don't need that. Meditation, do meditation, reach out to us or whatever. There's so much resource out there. You can always, meditation can do a big change. And also affirmation and what is it called? Yeah, this sort of thing, tapping.
Yeah, but again, they have to find what makes them happy. Number one, start remembering what made you happy. Go back to when your early childhood days. Find something that made you happy so much. Maybe it was playing the guitar. Maybe it was riding your bike. Maybe it was walking in the woods, hiking. Whatever that was, go back and start doing it. And that was the point. And this is a self-induced. This is an activation of something that happened in your life that you had to protect yourself. So it was a self-protection mechanism. The brain shut off. What you need to do is reactivate the brain. And the only way to reactivate those parts of the brain that went dormant, which is your happy hormone, your melatonin, your dopamine, your serotonin, the drugs and meds are not going to help your brain. You are the one who's going to help your brain by reactivating your cortex, your frontal lobe. And the only way to do that is to start connecting your brain with your hand. Create something. I don't care what it is. Do something that has to connect your left, right, and your hands, which is why fashion designing is an example, because it cured it. It's a proven fact. I've done it with many people, not just myself, but kids all the way up to adults. And I've seen them heal depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, and sexual abuse trauma from childhood. So that's why my method works. That's why there's many methods, but I think everyone's method is still the same method. It's just being worded differently, titled differently, packaged differently. Don't you think, Rupa?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So but
tell them some of the sign, because you were talking about narcissist people.
Yeah.
How can one understand or get this sign? What is the sign they can see that, okay, this is, I have to be careful, I have to get out, I have to walk away, this is not where I want to go, I cannot, how can you save yourself from that?
Okay, so first of all, nobody's really aware that there are narcissistic partners or people out there. The only way
then there must be some kind of sign or something.
Yeah, there is. Well, the number one thing that's written all over the internet and stuff is that you feel like you're walking on eggshells. And by the word working on eggshells means that for some reason you start worrying about what you say or what you do because it irritates or inflames, and they break out in anger, or they say something like totally off the wall. They also, they forget. It's like you start thinking that they're suffering from Alzheimer's, or they're having memory loss, because their version of your past, what you lived with them, is opposite.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So that's a really big sign. And then the third sign is that like when you notice that they actually don't have compassion or empathy for another human being. Yeah, they have charmed. Oh, and they're extremely charming. Number one, charming, elegant, respectful, caring, and will do anything in the beginning. And then somehow you see themselves changing, or you say something and now they said it as if it was coming from them. It was their idea, not yours.
Okay.
And then they love getting you upset before friends show up, so that you look like the Looney Tune. So you're the one who's now attacking him for what he said to you, but yet he acts perfectly normal, as if you're the bad one mad at him, and he just sits there being innocent. But they don't realize what happened before your friends all showed up.
Oh my God.
Spoke you and got you all upset.
Oh wow.
And of course, you don't find out about this until later, that they love talking about you behind your back. It's only your friends that come back later and go, we really didn't like him. We were there because we liked you. But, he said some really bad things about you to us. And we didn't want to get involved, so we didn't tell you.
Oh. Crazy.
I mean, you caught me off guard on this one. I definitely had it, fresh in my brain, because that was part of the stuff I stopped. And they do like, and then they do like playing games. They love
playing games.
Yeah,
playing games.
Yeah, games. They have to win. They love playing games.
Like what sort of game?
Oh, golf. I mean, I got a hole in one, which is a very unusual thing to happen. It was definitely a stroke of luck on a par 3, which most men, even the best golfers in the world, never have gotten. But he wasn't happy. He wasn't excited. Oh, and then, the tsunami? Yeah, 2004.
I don't remember. I think so.
Wiped everything out, and and all these resorts.
Was it 2004? I think before, right?
It was 2003 or 4, because I was there.
Whatever. Yeah.
I mean,
of course, yeah.
Or when they want to go on vacation somewhere and they keep pushing it and you're saying no, or they don't do anything that you really want. They make you think that it was your choice, but they've worked on you for a while to get you to change your mind. And they literally seriously were, and you're not even aware of it. Like when I wanted to get married in the States, we didn't get married for 3 years because I kept saying I want to get married in the States. And as soon as I said, let's get married in Germany, it was boom, wedding was on. They're very good at making other people think it's their choice. They're very good at manipulating. Masters at it. And they don't like it when they're exposed. I did it to my father-in-law, and I didn't realize that I was just standing up because my son had scarlet fever. And I wasn't going to the lunch restaurant in my bikini, because my son is totally over 100 fever with spots all over his body. With scarlet fever, I'm not going to lunch. I'm staying in the room. What they wanted me to do, because they have no empathy or no for nothing. They wanted me to leave my son, who's only like a year, with the hotel staff in Algarve. Hello, do you remember the kidnapping in Algarve? The child kidnapping of the little girl at night?
Yeah, I mean, that's the trap. Like you put it there, and then when you go, that's your fault.
Right. But the point is I stood my ground. I said, I'm a mother. I'm not going to leave my son with some stranger, some hotel staff. I was brought up to be a good parent. And because I was not following the orders of the big leader of the family, I was punished. And I was so mad. I'm Brazilian and Portuguese. I mean, I'm a fighter. I'm a tiger. I'm a mother lion. I will protect my child till if it kills me. So I went up to my father-in-law at the restaurant at dinner after like 3 days of not joining them, staying in my room and taking care of my son. I looked at him across the table and I said, I could see right through you. I said, you treat your own kids like they love each other in public, but they hate each other when they're not. I sat there and I said, you treat them and they do whatever daddy says. Well, I'm not the child. My dad doesn't tell me what to do at my age. He's not going to tell me what to do. That was my attitude. But what happened was I went up against a very, very powerful narcissist and they decided to get rid of me and they took my kids. Trust me, that's enough to make anybody depressed. And I decided that I was going to take my life back. Best thing to do in situations like this is to come back better than ever before. You build yourself back up to even better than you were before. Attracted them towards you first. Come back and become the biggest powerhouse and the biggest voice and the most powerful person you can be. That's the best revenge. Because
oh wow, that's quite a story. Oh my God. Okay, I have to digest that a little bit.
So anyways, wrap this up. So the best thing to do is say to everybody out there, both for Rupa and for myself, like you said, we are two women. Millions of us are out there. We are here to help you because as you can see, we both have gone through our own situations and we have the remedy to help you, but you got to want it. No, it's not an outside pill that's going to help you. It will never do that. You literally have to start from within. You have to decide this is what you want, and you have to work at it every single day until it becomes natural. But you still got to work. You got to make the decision. It's your decision to make. And it has to do with speed. The Grant Cardone, speed, do it. Speed. And don't stop, speed. Do it and don't stop. Just keep doing it. That can be applied here, Rupa.
Yeah.
Situation, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're going to do it, just keep doing it and be consistent.
Be consistent. Yeah, absolutely.
Do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
It's the same. Whatever you do, the more you practice, the better you get. Well, so is improving yourself.
I think it's going to end very soon. So I'm going to say thank you so much, Tina. It was really, really lovely having you here. And thank you for everyone else. And watch out our podcast.
But how do they find you, Rupa? And then I'll give them my information.
Yeah, how did they find me? I'm going to launch my podcast very soon to the Spotify and everywhere. I'll link everything down below and you can find it.
You're on Facebook too?
Yeah, I'm in Facebook to Rupa Kneull. Yeah, sure. They can email me as well.
All right. So everyone, thank you so much for listening. I know this is going to be a very powerful one as usual. And if there's anyone out there that needs to reach either Rupa or myself, we're going to have all the links and emails and social media listed at the bottom of this podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for being a powerhouse.
And also in Instagram, you can find me in Instagram too.
That's right. We're both on Instagram. So everyone will have all the information down below. And I am so grateful for Rupa to have joined me. And I'm very happy for joining your podcast. And thank you so much for everyone listening. Please start to follow us. And again, everyone, ciao.